Sometimes I don't know when we're on. Okay, we got the fancy light effects here. Look at this. Yes, yes, it's the fancy Jesse T light show. Yeah. Woo! Monday. Woo! Yeah. Look at that. Woo! Doggy. Jed Clampy used to say, woo! Doggies. That's what he used to say. Woo! Doggies. The light show's going crazy. That's right. The Brown Beauty is back on duty. Jesse T is in the house, a place to be. I am rocking it for you and me all along the coast from the desert to the sea. It's Jesse T. It's a matter of rhyme and timing, baby. That's right. You got no lying right here. Not like Hillary, Lyons, and Diane Clinton. There's no lying here. You got the Brown Beauty on duty, Jesse Terrero, in the house. It is the Jesse T Show. We are live. We are happening. We are in the Gray Ghost. You can see the Gray Ghost. The Gray Ghost is here somewhere in Southern California with me in it. Yes, I am in the Gray Ghost. We are together. We're married today. The Gray Ghost and I are in one. We're like one in one. That's right. We're together because it is the Jesse T Show. And of course, we're here every Monday through Friday from 5 to 6 o'clock. That's what we do. And you have just entered the world according to Torero. That's right. Straight on the point. Whew. Yep. Live at 5. Good to have you along with me. It's a Monday in Southern California, another beautiful day here in paradise. And, hopefully it was a good weekend for you. It was an interesting weekend for me. I got to talk to some cows. That's right, I did. I actually talked to some cows. If you want to see me talk to cows, then what you have to do, you can go on our website at facebook.com/Jesse Terrero. And by the way, that's where we're broadcasting live from right now. We're broadcasting live from here. I'm trying to get the lights set up here on that Facebook site because that is ABTV Live and the entertainment channel from the community to the world. We are all over God's blue, green earth, and it's good to have you along with us. And also, you can check us out by downloading our free app, and that is for Apple and Android. It's a cool looking app, so you can download it, and you'll be mainlining right to us right here at the Power of Voices with all our great shows and all our great hosts and all the different topics and the things that we talk about here all the time, and just stuff that you really learn a lot by listening to the Power of Voices.com, of course, located at www.thepowerofvoices.com. And we are broadcasting out live on the Digital Broadcasting TV network of YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Instagram, and Snapchat after the show gets posted up. We're also on several others, Bamboozle. We're also on UPeak, StreamUp, and so many others. But just check us out right here at facebook.com/The Power of Voices. So there's lots of ways to gather up your soul and join us every Monday through Friday. And if you're just listening to us on the radio, that's good too, because we're broadcasting loud and clear for you. Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about today, lots to talk about, so we're going to get into it. Lots of things happened over the weekend politically. Lots of things happened over the weekend health-wise, health for you and me. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Also, lots of things happened over the week in my life. It was a crazy, crazy time. I'm going to teach you how to make some money here, too, here on the Jesse T Show, because as you know, I am a real estate broker for many, 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 many decades and a loan broker. So I was out doing some boots on the ground. You got to make sure that you got stuff set up right. Because if you don't, it just doesn't look right. How about that? I think that's a good little point. All right, good. All right, so let's get into the show right now, real fast, and let's talk about some political stuff. Let's talk about that right now. There's a new movie coming out, and it's called Birth of a Nation. Actually, it's not a new movie. There was a big thing on 60 Minutes about it, and Nate Turner. Now, if you don't know who Nate Turner is, then you don't know your African American history. Nate Turner was a guy right after the Civil War. He led the uprising of slaves in the South. It may have been just before his initiation. I think it was before his initiation. It may have been, we know it was between the Civil War and about 1843. Now, Nate Turner led an uprising in the South, and it was the largest uprising that any slave at the time had ever led against the plantation owners, the slave masters, the plantation owners. And he went on a killing spree that would rival the serial killers of today. The guy just whacked off and killed off a whole bunch of people. This Nate Turner. They finally caught up with him. And by the way, they were all white. Kids now killed. Really set up this stuff. Obviously so. But they finally caught up with him. That's like this, obviously. So there's a movie the original Birth of a Nation was done by Central Media way back in silent film. That was Birth of a Nation was all about KKK and about slavery and about plantation. Blazed a lot of new trails in filmmaking at the time, and really what made Sesame the Mill, the great one, really was Sesame the Mill. It was one of those guys, one of those early guys, but nevertheless, it was an extravaganza movie of its time. But that movie has not been redone in any modern style. I mean, it's now being redone. Actually, it has been redone. It's called Birth of a Nation. Now, I gotta tell you, it's an interesting movie because, of course, they're going to take the 2016 slot, the movie making. The guy who produced and directed and acted in the movie, he was Robert Race Sergeant himself, and I believe he did some time for those charges. So, of course, the allegations of many say he didn't do it, but I believe he did serve some time for that. Nevertheless, it's an interesting backstory that the creator of the film, very interesting. So it'd be interesting to see the time that he takes this movie. And we're speaking on 60 Minutes about this, and he did the talk show circuit today in the promotion of this movie. So it's a historical movie. It's called Birth of a Nation, and it's all about the discovery. Turner historically was a very significant figure in the ever-expanding, ever-ongoing struggle for planting African Americans to establish themselves as people that have rights given to them. And I wrote a piece for it called A Letter to the Free that I would like to share with you all, just acapella. See how it comes out. My big concern with this southern leaves, southern trees we hung from, bearing souls, heroic songs unsung. Forgive them, Father, they know this knot is undone. Tied with the rope that my grandmother died. Pride of the pilgrims, affect lives of millions since slave days. To kind of keep the emotions down, because I think that this movie is going to create a lot of very White House, let me tell you, both black and white. And I think there's going to be okay, we are live at the White House, let me tell you. Racial anger, the brewing and exploding in this country for the last few years.
It's the South by Southland event. We are here live. Please say hi. Hey, everybody, hi.
Men and women of all colors. They seem to be not really.
We are having so much fun. President Obama will be out here to speak at 7 p.m. tonight. It's an incredible event on the White House lawn. It kind of it's similar to the South by Southwest. President Obama was there, saw the event, and thought that it was time to have something like that here at the White House. So here we are, live at the White House. One more time, let me show you right there. See that presidential seal in the background? I'll show you again.
But I know it's going to be controversial, so I got them to think, and I'm concerned that the release of this movie at this time, there are geopolitical
20,000 entries were put in for this event. Roughly about 2,000 people were chosen to come. We are here, so proud. We are all representing the power of voice. Join us.
outwardly create physical diseases to their nature. And we're going to see more violence and more riots, more burning of police cars, and maybe burning of theaters and things like that, more looting and all of that. So it's a concern. Uh, Keep your eyeball out. I know that I am certainly going to do that. I don't go out to the movies much unless I'm doing a red carpet and I'm there for a reason. I generally won't go to the movies too much anymore. I usually wait for them to come on the internet and get them just about as fast anyway in the safety of my home. So that's kind of what the trend is doing. But that'll be an interesting movie and see how it does within a society that is socially. I just shudder to think. I think we're going to have a lot more violence because of this. It's really going to really activate the racist feelings that it seems to me that so many people have in this nation today. Not just talking about Asians, and I'm not just talking about indigenous Americans. I'm talking about Latinos and white people and black people. There seems to be an ever-growing increase of racial prejudice, racial discrimination, racial bigotry, racial inequality, and all of this. And I wonder why. I wonder why that is. It it's just all happening too perfectly for me, in my taste. Things are just happening like clockwork, way too much in regard to that. It just seems like there's a plan in the making and a plan that is being instituted, a plan that we don't know and we don't feel and we don't sense, but nevertheless a plan anyway. And that's it's kind of an interesting concept because, you know, I believe, as you know, if you listen to the Jesse T show, I believe that so much of how we react to things and how we think as individuals and as a society is really something that has been planted in us from the time that we're born, on how we react to certain things, how we react to certain examples of things happening, how we react to feelings, how we react to actions, information, entertainment. All this has been sort of rooted in us from the time we were born. And in many cases, I really believe a lot of stuff has been rooted in us in a way in which that ultimately this negative violence will come out in us given the opportunity in the moment. But then, you know, when you look at why I believe that, you just have to go and study history and study human nature. And it doesn't take much of a stretch to twist a person around. It really doesn't. It's a pretty easy thing to do, uh, especially when you start moving in packs of more than one person. Free thought amongst individuals doesn't really take place as much as we think it does. We really are a pack mentality kind of species. We follow the pack, and whatever pack we're in, whatever pack we're a part of, you know, we follow. I feel like Caesar and his pack of dogs. You know, we follow the pack. We are a pack mentality type of species. So we'll just go with what a lot of other people say. And unfortunately, our media, which we get most of our information now, tells us whatever they want. You know, Fox News is owned by the Saudis. CNN is owned by people like George Soros. And if you don't know who George Soros is, he's the most left wing, crazy, maniacal, liberal nutcase that you can ever imagine. In fact, I really believe he's more of a social anarchist and a communist in a lot of ways because he makes money. He's a billionaire. I think he's worth about $42 billion. He lives in Europe, uh, but he certainly wields a big stick in terms of what happens here in this country. He backed Saul Alinsky. He sent millions of dollars to the Clinton Foundation. Saul Alinsky was somebody that was a communist plotter, watched by the CIA. Saul Alinsky was a guy that Hillary and Bill Clinton that was their hero. That was sort of like somebody like they idolized in his writings and stuff. So you know when you think about it, and you start looking at who has given people the most information to shape them in a certain way on how they think and how they react today. Saul Alinsky was one that certainly has done that tremendously. So, oh, by the way, he also was the one that Obama religiously believes in. Saul Alinsky, his theories and concepts, which are really just in reality communism. He basically took the model from Lenin. Lenin was the first entity in communist Russia. Lenin, actually, it was Tolstoy, and Lenin, and then Stalin. Stalin had him murdered, but Stalin then murdered about 30 million of his own people after World War II. A lot of folks don't know that, but yeah, he killed. He did a cleansing in his country that was pretty amazing. So did Chairman Mao of China. He did a cleansing in his country that was pretty amazing too. He killed about 70 million of his own people. Actually, Hitler only killed about 6 million. So these two characters were worse than Hitler. Not to say Hitler was a good guy, absolutely not. But these two characters were worse. I wonder why we didn't go to war with them. I wonder why, we attacked Hitler for killing everybody and being the maniacal dictator, evil, satanic person, but we didn't go after Stalin. And we didn't go after Chairman Mao of China. They were greater killers by tenfold over Hitler. There's a reason for that too. You ever think about these things? I do. What can I tell you? It's just me, Jesse T, and I think about this stuff because I ask myself all the time, why is it that we do the things that we do today? Why are we a civilization like we are today? I mean, what makes us us? Are we being controlled by somebody? Is somebody actually controlling our actions and we don't even know it? Is that what is happening? It sure seems that way. I mean, people just kind of say and do things, and sometimes I think that they don't even know what they're saying and what they're doing with that regard. It seems to me that people that pack mentality again that I was talking about, that pack mentality. As I moved one of the cameras around here to make sure that we got a little better angle and a little sunlight. There we go. That's a little bit better. So when you look at the timing of things, you always have to ask yourself, why now? Why now? I personally would like to see that movie released a little bit later, but they're going to release it, and it's going to be a very controversial movie, and I think that it's going to cause a lot of grief for a lot of people, and just make our feelings about each other even greater in terms of that hatred that seems to be brewing everywhere in our country today. And there's an interesting thought. It seems that in the last 8 to 10 years, that stuff is really starting to come out in the public forum. That's an amazing thing because that kind of coincides with President Obama. Yeah, the great one. The great one who was born in Hawaii. Yes, the great one who is not a Muslim and he is a Christian. Yes, the great one who is not a communist or a socialist. The great one. I'm going to start calling him the great one. I mean, they should be etching him a rock face in Mount Rushmore. The great one. The guy who has done more for our society and the social connection and the bringing together of people in this country than any other president ever before him, right from the beginning of time immortal. I mean, going back as far back as President Obama has done more for civil rights, and that is bringing love and compassion, and sensitivity, and understanding, and the idea that we're all one under the great blue green earth. We're all one people. Doesn't matter the pigment of our skin. You know, the great one has done so much to help that. And I know he's done so much to help the unemployment, the people who are not employed. He's done so much to get people off of welfare. It's an amazing thing how wonderful this man is. I swear, we ought to be throwing red petals, red rose petals down everywhere he goes. Forget about saluting the Marines when he comes off Air Force One or helicopter, the Air Force Helicopter One. Forget about that. We should be saluting him and throwing petals down between he and his great wife. Yes, the great President Obama and Michelle Obama. Oh yeah, the wonderful things that they do. Amazing. If it wasn't for them, our country just would be, it would be horrible. I mean, we would be like probably killing each other just because our color is different. Thank goodness our eye colors are different and we're okay with that. I mean, you know, if our hair color, I think if the great one didn't arrive on the scene, we'd probably be, you know, going after ourselves with big giant swords because our hair color is different than each other. You know, it's amazing. Thank goodness the great one is there to save us. He certainly has done a lot for civil rights, and he's done a lot for the unemployed in this country. Oh, he is. There's so many more people working. Oh boy, it's an amazing thing, and I have no idea why EBT and welfare has gone through the ceiling. You know, 40, 45 million people now on it, or whatever the estimate of that number is. It's right up in there. Kind of doubled under his watch. Obviously, it's nothing that he's done. No, no, by no means. It could not possibly be anything that the great one has done. No, 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 no. Of course not. No. It's all those
The
people who just,
backstabbers,
for whatever
like
reason,
hip hop,
they don't want to
they
be
don't
employed.
stop.
You know, that's really
Period.
what it is. So, yeah. Oh yeah, the religious aspects too. It just dawns on me. I don't understand why. I don't get why that we have to import so many people who want to kill us. I think we should be importing like you know scientists like we did after World War II and the great minds out of Germany and Europe. I think that's who we should actually be importing, not importing people who want to kill us. I was just reading today that there are some kids, white kids, in the heartland of America, and they got acid thrown all over their faces after they got beat up by a bunch of Muslim hordes. That's right, Muslim hordes. That's what I'm going to call them. They're more than. I think it's nice when you call them, you know, jihadists, Muslim fanatical jihadists, or whatever. I'm just going to call them the Muslim horde because that's what they are. It's terrible, just terrible. They got no enter zones up in Wisconsin and Michigan. A lot of people don't realize that they've taken over little towns up there. It is a scary thing. It really is. So you know, I just we have we're you know we're really good at importing violence to this country and criminals. We've become very sophisticated at that, importing criminals, and they don't even have to be citizens. I mean, we're really good at that. But of course, a lot of people now are leaving this country because especially the Mexican folks, a lot of people that came here, they're actually leaving. The news has it all wrong, you see. The politicians have it all wrong. If you look at the statistics, there's about 1 million Mexicans leaving a year right now, going back to Mexico. Several million have already gone back in the last couple of years. And the reason is because the Great One has created such a country filled full of new jobs that these people are just making so much money. They sent back and they're sending back so much money back home that they want to go home and enjoy some of that money that they've been sending back and bolstering up the Mexican GDP to a third of their GDP. So, they obviously want to go back and enjoy some of that money they've been sending back because, well, I
Thank
guess
you
the
to all my
GDP
black
is not the
friends
greatest
that
in the
joined
GDP.
the
So
broadcast
it's actually
today.
jobs in Mexico. I mean, there's going to be a whole Ford
Period.
company. Ford is moving their whole car line for small and mid-sized cars to Mexico. Now, Trump's not going to be able to stop that. Neither is Hillary, let him lie and die Clinton. No, so she's not going to be able to stop that. Nobody's going to be able to stop that unless we tariff these countries, these companies, and we make it very painful for them to bring their products back into this country. I think we should. I think we educated witness to that. I know when I got in trouble and my mother was going to whoop my butt, and she scraped off a switch off the black oak tree in the front yard. She'd be yelling down the street for me. When I came a running, she'd be whipping my little butt, whack, 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 all the way home. I was like a duck. I wasn't quacking, I was crying. She was whack, whack, whacking all the way home. I learned real quick their road lessons. I think that we should do that to these corporations. I mean, don't we just love Wells Fargo? Well, how about that Wells Fargo guy? Is he like the coolest character under the gun? I would like to have that guy on my team. He's more cool than Peyton Manning was in the Super Bowl. That guy is so cool. He's so cool under the gun. The Wells Fargo guy, you know, the guy who set up 2 million fake accounts, and nobody's going to go to jail for it, but he fired 5,000 people because of it. Yeah, sure. But nobody was his executive that got fired. Nobody was a general manager or anything like that. They were just the eons of workers, you know, that are barely slaving during the day at 25 hours a week because they don't want to pay any money for insurance or benefits or anything like that. But that Wells Fargo, don't we just love that? Third largest bank in America. I think we're the number one lending bank in America right now. We just love them, don't we? It's wonderful. That guy is so cool. Wow, I'm telling you, it's an amazing thing what our country has turned it into. It is just, it's unbelievable. And just to think that Donald Trump had the audacity to say that we're not as great as we used to be. Well, how dare he think that? Who does he think he is? He didn't even file any tax returns. My goodness, shame on him. Well, it's funny though, he didn't break any laws. Let me say this. Let's let he who hasn't sinned cast the first stone. I'm wondering how many times you've kind of used the rules to your benefit for your tax. I have. They're there for you to use. The rules are there. As long as you follow the rules and you're not like Wesley Snipes who didn't pay taxes on millions of dollars and get 3 years in jail. The fine caught up with him. Okay, it's not like Willie Nelson who didn't pay any back taxes and he was 60 or $70 million and he had to work out a deal so he didn't work for jail. No, no, no. You know, they're using the rules. I mean, don't you use the rules? Or do you just kind of do whatever you want with your taxes? Don't you use the rules to your benefit? You go to an H&R Block or something, or you go to your CPA or your tax attorney, right? Don't you use the rules to your benefit? Oh, come on. Don't tell me you don't. We all do. So what's the problem? I don't get it. It's very simple. What's the problem when you're not paying any taxes and you use the rule? There's just some of you pay, but some of you pay nothing. Because some of you don't even have a job. Some of you like living on the welfare system in this country. And those of you who do listen to this show who might be doing that, shame on you. Unless, of course, you're doing everything you can to get off the welfare system, then good for you. It's there for you. But therefore, not for you to live a generational lifestyle and give a hand-me-down to your kids and teach them how to. No. But good for you if you're trying to get off it. That's what it's there for, and I'm all for you. But for those other scumbags that don't, they just live off it, live off it, live off it, have more babies and whatnot. I mean, come on. You know, a lot of people think I'm talking about black people, but they don't realize I'm not. I'm talking about Latinos, Asians. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about white folks. You should see the powerful things I say to people like you. I'll tell you one right now. Get off your fat ass and go get some work. Okay? That's simple. All right. So, it's interesting when you start piecing all the pieces together and you start looking at all the dots and how they interconnect with each other. It really is. But how do you stop it? How do you change it? How do you right this wrong? How do you make up for what we've all messed up on? Oh, Donald Trump hasn't paid any taxes. Well, one of the newspapers, which is a left-wing liberal newspaper, and you left-wing liberal Democrats out there know I'm talking to you. And if you're a left-wing liberal Republican, well, shame on you. But I'm talking to you. Anybody who's on the left and is a liberal, has a liberal agenda about everything, and is up there complaining and waving and doing all the things like that. Well, hey, one of your stellar newspapers, the ones that cracked the story about Donald Trump, the Washington Post and the New York Times, you know that the New York Times hasn't paid any taxes either in 2014? They didn't pay any taxes. And also, did you know that Hillary Clinton didn't pay any taxes in 2014? Yeah, the Clintons didn't pay any taxes. Yeah, so come on, do your homework. Figure it out. Anybody who's got a brain pays as little taxes as they can. Everybody does. Oh, we got to pay. But hey, come on now. If you didn't have to pay your taxes, you wouldn't pay them because there's more money in your pocket. And if you could utilize the system in a way in which that you could benefit from it and not break the law, you would. Now, if you can't afford a bank of attorneys, well, that's your problem, isn't it? Don't blame somebody else because they can. And they can read through the million-page book of the IRS. That's your problem, isn't it? Not their problem. They're utilizing the system. We all have utilized the system to the best that we can. Don't tell me you haven't. Please. Really? Come on. Who are you trying to fool? Right. You talk about the chickens coming home to roost. Huh. Really? So, you start looking at things and you start really researching things and you start asking yourself, wait a minute, it's the hypocrisy of democracy. That's really what it is. It's the hypocrites, the hypocrisy of it all. How dare George Bush and the Clintons all shake hands and be all happy and lovey-dovey in that picture I saw the other day where they're all telling everybody, oh, we don't like Trump. How dare they do that? I thought they were like enemies or something. They all talk crap about each other, and then they go make up in the swinger party afterwards at the Washington Hilton Hotel. All these perverted pedophiles that are in government. Yeah, there are a lot of them. They're usurping of power. Power corrupts itself. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. But absolute power kills absolutely. So, you start looking at the real hypocrisy of it all. And you try to live your life and not be a hypocrite. But yet everybody around you is. Everybody's a hypocrite. Everybody's this and everybody's that. But nobody stands up for the truth. The truth of the matter is that we all try to get something for nothing. And if you can do it the legal way, you're going to do it the legal way because it's the right way. You're not breaking the law. You're not doing anything wrong. You're doing what everybody else does. And that's just the way it is. You can take that to the bank. Start thinking about stuff before you start listening to these stupid reporters on Fox and CNN. They don't got the story. They got the story that they have to pitch to you and I. That's what they do. There's no truth coming out of their potholes. Absolutely not. What's coming out of their potholes is an agenda that they want to keep. And they want to keep for very political and bureaucracy and financial reasons. It's all about creating argument and hatred amongst people. Watch what's going to happen. Whoever becomes president, if it's Trump, all of a sudden Bill Clinton and Hillary are going to be going to his golf courses. And there's going to be pictures of them having a gay old time. They're like Fred Flintstone, having a wonderful time laughing and chuckling and hugging and kissing and everything is just beautiful. Yeah, right. But yet they subject us to this mudslinging and this negative crap that we got to be hit with every single day of our lives. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely, it's absurd. So arrogant. It's so arrogant that they think that we actually fall for their crap. Both of them. I'm a Trumpster. I'm voting for Trump. I say that all the time. But I'll tell you this much. They're all cut from the same cloth. They're all going to do what little things they can do, but once they set that foot in that White House, they're going to be told what they can and cannot do, whatever their agenda was. Watch. Watch. So, really, you have to look at things with wide open eyes and understand that so many of the words that these people are saying are just words they're saying to elicit some sort of emotional reaction. And none of them are talking about the issues. All they're doing is talking about he said, she said, I said, she said, he said, she said, I said, you said. It's like friggin' high school. It's worse. It's like ninth grade. That's the worst grade. The worst grade. Everybody's talking about everybody. Oh my Lord. It's unbelievable. In high school, I used to go and I used to sit in this one area by myself because that stuff just made me sick. People talk about this guy and this girl, and they're this, and they're that, and they're this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I just went and sat and had my food at nutrition and lunch. And when people want to come over and talk to me, they come over and talk to me. And when they wanted to leave, they left. I didn't talk about nobody. Nobody. Because you know something? What do you talk about anybody for? It's stupid. It's really a waste of time, but that's what they're doing in this political thing. They're just throwing mud. Mud, 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 mud. What mud comes up next? You got a woman that's lied her whole life. She's a habitual liar. That's what she is. She can't help but lie. Because once you start lying, you have to build lie upon lie upon lie. That's just the way it is. You got a guy, her husband, he's a horn dog. He's always been a horn dog. I mean, that guy, his sperm is swimming every which way but loose. So he got to get loose every now and then. She knows that. They got an understanding. Of course they do. He's a horn dog, and she's a liar. And she turns on women like you can't imagine. She turned on all those people that came out of the woodwork about Clinton during his trial and his impeachment and all that time. She turned on them like a vicious wild pack of wolverines. And why not? That's her husband. And he was president. And she wanted to be president someday, too. She wanted to have a power position as well. So why not? She turned on that little 12-year-old that was severely raped to the point that her, her, her reproductive organs were destroyed by the rapist after 5 days. He raped her into unconsciousness and coma, right? And she, Hillary Clinton, represented the rapist and actually said about the little 12-year-old girl who was raped like that, who could never have children, actually said, well, she had it coming because she was out looking for that kind of stuff all the time. Are you kidding me? 12 years old? That woman just came out of the woodwork just a couple of days ago for the first time. She's like 41 now. And she tells her story. You ought to look that up and read that before you vote for this woman. She talks about women's affairs and women equality and women jobs, but yet she's the most horrid woman on women affairs that anything could ever happen. Just because she's a woman doesn't mean women should vote for her, women, because she is horrible with women. Just horrible, just rotten. Okay, just look at her record. Look what's being said about her. Throw 90% of it away. Only keep 10% of it as truth, maybe 15 or 20 at the most. Still, it rocks the boat. And so Donald Trump says, hey, you're a fat, ugly pig. Well, you know something? In those beauty contests at that level, did you know in those contracts, they have just like a professional athlete, a professional football and baseball player, a professional boxer, they can't ride dirt bikes, they can't go water skiing, they can't do this, they can't do that during the season. Because if they do, they can jeopardize the team and their careers and the billions and millions of dollars that they pay them and they make. I mean, these contracts are pretty much written up tight like that to keep people in check. Well, those beauty contests at the highest level, they have that too. It's not just, being anorexic and then gain 400 pounds and and it's okay. No, that's not what it's about. But everybody wants to change the rules today. Everybody has their own idea of what the rules should be. No, the rules are the rules. That's what they are. I got to go to court tomorrow because I'm trying to get somebody. It's been in my units for almost 10 months, and I just made a mistake. Yeah, I'm not afraid to say it. I made a mistake in one of my filings. I'm probably going to have this thing tossed out of court on me tomorrow. I'm going to have to start all over. But that's all right because I'm going to stand up court and I'm going to say what I got to say. And when the judge says to me, he says, well, you should have known better. You should have had that. I'm going to say, you're absolutely right. So I'll drop the case and then I'll refile it again. But, stand up. Stand up. Be accountable. No one wants to be accountable anymore. Nobody wants to be. That's part of the problem. Let's look at the world and the health matters. Fukushima. Did we forget about Fukushima and the tsunami that hit Fukushima almost 2 years ago? What about all that pollution, all that nuclear waste that was going and spewing into the Pacific Ocean? Well, the scientists just did a study. You know how big the Pacific Ocean is? It is so massive. You could fit almost 3 Atlantic Oceans in the Pacific Ocean. That's how big it is. They're saying now that the whole Pacific Ocean is polluted with the Fukushima radiation, and it's not stopping. Yeah, yeah. There are certain strains of fish that we can't eat anymore that come out of the Bering Strait. We can't eat them because they got too much radiation in them. Fukushima, Fukushima. Why do we worry about that? Forget about warming of the earth. Let's talk about Fukushima and the destruction of the Pacific Ocean. For without the Pacific Ocean, we will have no planet and we will cease to exist because the Pacific Ocean feeds 3/4 of the world. So let's talk about that. Why aren't they talking about Fukushima? Why has that gone by the wayside? But they're talking about but they're talking about planet warming. Forget planet warming. Okay? We got to put shorts on. Okay. Let's talk about Fukushima. The Pacific Ocean is polluted with radiation to the point that there are some areas that are off limits to fishing and off limits, literally. And it's not stopping. It's going to pollute the whole world, all the ocean. Why don't we talk about serious things like that? Why are not the presidential candidates being serious about that? Let's talk about the earthquake. The earthquakes that are projected to happen here. Did you get the warning from all the news stations? Did you get it? I did. Everybody I know got it. I hope you're ready for earthquakes. I hope you're ready for preparedness. I hope you're ready to survive. Why isn't the United States government talking about that and providing the opportunity for people to survive a disastrous event, providing education, providing supplies and materials? Why don't we do things right for our society and our citizens? Why are we worrying about about how much money somebody has or how much money somebody doesn't have? Who really cares? Come on now. Every one of the presidents are wealthy people. Every one of the candidates are super wealthy people. They're not you and me. Absolutely not. And neither are the senators or the Congress people. They make a lot of money. And the longer they're there, the wealthier they get by the contacts and the networks they meet. There's a guy here in Los Angeles who's giving up his CDC. He makes $190,000 on the Los Angeles City Council. Makes $190,000 a year. Each one of those members. Does that just make you sick to your stomach? That they make almost as much. They make more. They almost make as much as the United States Senator, the Los Angeles City Council. It's disgusting. There's 14 of them. It's a lot of salary. It's disgusting if they make so much money. But they do. But this guy who's had this job for a couple of terms, he's splitting town. He's retired. He quit. Well, he came under a lot of legal problems. That was the real reason why he quit. And he wasn't liked at all in his district. That was the second reason why he quit. But you feel sorry for him? You feel sorry for this guy? Felipe Fuentes was his name? You feel sorry for him? No, you don't. Oh, you should, because now he's unemployed. Oh, oh, yes, but what? He just got himself $1 million consulting job. He had that job lined up 6 months before he was going to quit. Yeah, these people in politics make a lot of money, and the networks and the contacts that they make allow them to make more beyond what we really understand, the everyday working person. But yet, Hillary Clinton has the audacity to get up there and say everybody needs to make $15 an hour. You know something? $15 an hour isn't going to change anything. Why does she talk about dropping Common Core and giving people an education that will allow them to make $55 an hour or $75 an hour or $422 an hour? Why don't they do that? $15 an hour. Like that's going to change everything? Really? I'll tell you something. You get an education, or you get a street education, or a good technical education. You go to get yourself a job like a machinist or something like that. You're going to make $80 an hour. Why don't they teach our children that? The ones that don't want to go to college. Why don't they teach our children and our young people those types of skills? Because the world needs them. It's twisted, man. It's just twisted. Everything is just twisted, ladies. It's all twisted around. People are just not thinking right. There's too much violence. There's too much hatred. There's too much terrorism. There's too much anger. There's too much allowing illegal people in this country from countries that hate us. There's too much lying. There's too much corruption. There's too much cheating. There's too much say whatever you want to say because it doesn't matter tomorrow. Tomorrow's the next day. There's too much hypocrisy. There's too much blaming the other guy when your own house isn't clean. We have a weak military. It's not strong enough. We have an economy that's about ready to collapse. This recession, this recession we came out of, man, the Mexicans are leaving the country, go back to Mexico because there's no jobs here anymore. We got more people on unemployment and government assistance than ever before in the history of this nation. They want to take our Second Amendment and change it around and limit us the type of weapons they want. If they had the ability, they would cut down on free speech. They'd get rid of the Fourth Amendment. They get rid of the 12th Amendment. They get rid of the Seventh Amendment. They had their way. It's just too much. And we're led down the road like cattle to slaughter. It's unbelievable that we fall for this all the time. I'm done falling for it. I'm done. No more. I call it like I see it. I call it like I feel it. I call it like it is. I'm not politically correct. I am not. I was going to run. I was running for Council Seat 7 here in the city of Los Angeles. I decided not to run. And I'll tell you why. Because I would have to do one thing. And it was very difficult for me at this stage in my life, at 56 years old. In order for me to bring a bill to the floor of the horseshoe in the city council for other council members to vote, I have to have 3 votes plus my own. 3 plus 1, that's 4. That means that's just to get it to the floor. That means I would have to make liaisons with other council members, perhaps on things that I didn't think were ethical or moral, or I didn't think were right. But I would have to bite my thumb, on my finger, so I could get them to vote on my bill. I would have to be, I would have to, I would have to lay down my ethical and moral code so I could get my stuff done for my constituents. I couldn't do that. Couldn't do that. Couldn't do that. I couldn't say, oh, it's okay. I don't agree with anything you're saying, but it's okay because I need this stuff over here. Couldn't work for me. There's no way. I would just be arguing with everybody all the time about everything. And I would get nothing done. And then my constituents would hate me. I thought, well, this isn't the right time. It's not the right time. Maybe in 15 years or in 70, it might be the right time. But right now, it's not. I got too much fire in my belly to fight what I think is wrong. We better get straight, folks, in this country. We better start understanding some of these basic concepts that I talk about almost every day on the Jesse T Show, live at 5 here, Monday through Friday from 5 to 6. We better get straight on this stuff. You enter my world and the world according to Guerrero, I say I'm straight on the point. We better get straight on these points. Because if we don't, we're going to separate more and more and more as a culture. We're going to separate more and more and more as a people. We're going to separate more and more and more through racism. We're going to separate. When movies like Birth of a Nation come up, that's going to be a very controversial movie. There's going to be more police car burning and more rioting in the streets and more hate this person and hate that person and hate this person. The whites are going to hate the blacks. The blacks are going to hate the whites. Latinos are going to hate everybody. The Asians are going to hate everybody. Everybody's going to hate everybody. And it's just more hate, more burning, more killing, more all of this stuff. But yet we care about what the Kardashians lost last night in Paris, $10 million in jewelry, because she wears her clothes half naked in Paris. So that's what we really are interested in, right? We're interested in the NFL games on Sunday. Those idiots that put their knees down. I went on strike. I'll never watch an NFL game again for 10 years until these whole people are cleansed out. I'm just weird like that. And I'm also weird like, I went down to Adelanto to put boots on the ground about how to make millions of dollars in the marijuana business and the marijuana cultivation business, where you can do that in the city of Adelanto now. And because an ordinance, the first one in the state, you can cultivate in an enclosed warehouse. So I spent like 6 hours down there on Sunday, and on my way back, I stopped off at this cow farm, a bunch of cows. And I got out of my car and I walked over to the cows, and it's on my Facebook site, facebook.com/Jesse Terrero. And the cows all rushed over to me. I mean, they ran like a football field when they saw me. So I was sitting there talking to cows. And they were all looking at me. It was just the craziest, weirdest thing. And now, look, I say, I said, I knew I might have been able to make some women happy, but I didn't know I could make a bunch of female cows happy. Lord help me. But what I realized in watching those cows? I realized that they were all staring at me like the public, like the United States American citizenry. We're just a bunch of freaking cows. They ran around by some. And as I was watching the cows, I thought, I'm the somebody that's leading these cows around. So I walked right, left, and they followed me. I went, that's it. Let me ask you the question. Who is leading you to slaughter? Who is leading you there? Are you a cow? Or are you a horse and a Mustang running wild and free? It's the Jesse T Show. 5 to 5 to 6 right here with me, Jesse T. Hey, you're entering the world of Terrero. Now you're leaving. You are straight on the point.
Come on, man.
Always
Yeah.
remember. Think about what's happening to you. The Beauty is off duty. See ya.